Hello dear DSC candidates, welcome back to my Grammar for Success channel. I am Koresh Babu, a retired lecturer in English from Hyderabad. In today's video, I am going to teach you about the literary devices employed in the most vibrant and imaginative poem, The Cloud, written by B.B. SHELLY. I therefore request all of you to watch this video till the end without skipping it in the middle. I also request all of you to consider subscribing to my channel and also sharing this video with all your friends who are also going to take the DSC examination along with you. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the video. Literary devices used in the poem The Cloud. Okay, and you know very well, yesterday I uploaded a video on the poem The Cloud. In that video I explained only the poem, and because the poem was very lengthy, consisting of very long stanzas, that's why in that video I could teach you only the poem, and I could not add these literary devices in that video, and therefore I am making a separate video on the literary devices employed in this Cloud. Okay, so let us learn about the literary devices employed in the poem The Cloud. Okay, and The Cloud by P.B. SHELLY employs various literary devices. You know, in this lengthy poem, various literary devices have been employed or used. Why? To enhance. To enhance means to increase what? The beauty of imagery, the beauty of rhythm, the beauty of its meaning. So to enhance the meaning, rhythm and imagery, several literary devices have been used in this poem The Cloud, and let us learn about all of them very clearly with examples one by one. Okay, here you pay attention. Here are some of the key literary devices. So key literary devices are discussed in this video, and here you pay attention. First one is the personification. You know, the personification, this literary device is the predominant literary device used in this poem, because throughout the poem, the cloud has been personified. It has been attributed human qualities, human emotions, human feelings, and that's why throughout the poem, throughout the 6 stanzas, this cloud has been personified. So personification is the most predominant literary device employed in this poem The Cloud. And what is this personification? Once again I am giving you the meaning. The cloud is personified throughout the poem. Okay, that point is clear. Personification means, you know, it is described as if it had human traits and emotions. So attributing human traits and emotions to some non-living object is called personification. You know that very well. And here this cloud has been described as if it had human traits and emotions. So this point you have to understand. Therefore we can say that the cloud has been personified throughout the poem. That is the point. And how? So I will give you some examples to make you understand this. I bring fresh showers for the thirsting flowers. So in this line you can understand that this I, see, the cloud is saying I bring rains. Fresh showers means rains for the thirsting flowers. For thirsting flowers means flowers that are in need of water or that are very thirsty. దప్పికగొని ఉన్న పూలకు నేను నీటిని అందిస్తాను, సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్. ఐ బ్రింగ్ ఫ్రెష్ షవర్స్ ఫర్ ద థర్స్టింగ్ ఫ్లవర్స్. సో హియర్ ఇన్ దిస్ లైన్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ దిస్ పోయట్ హ్యాస్ personified this cloud. Personification, you know very well, this personification is the most predominant literary device used in this poem, because this cloud, you know, is attributed the human traits, it is attributed human emotions and feelings, and in this way, in this entire poem, this cloud has been personified. Personification means you know very well. What is that? Attributing human traits, human emotions, human feelings to the non-living objects is called personification. Okay. So here this cloud is a lifeless object. But here in this poem, the poet has personified that. He had shown it as if this cloud had human emotions, human feelings, human traits, human qualities, and so on. So that's why in this complete poem, the cloud has been personified. So this is the most predominant literary device used in this poem. That is the point you have to understand. And next, the cloud is personified throughout the poem. Already you have learned that. And here it is described. So how is the cloud described in this poem? As if it had human traits and human emotions. So as though this cloud had human emotions and human traits, or traits means qualities. So in that way it was described throughout this poem. So a few examples here I would like to give you. I bring fresh showers for the thirsting flowers. You know the meaning of this line. This is the very first line of the poem. The poet says the cloud brings fresh showers. Fresh showers means fresh rains. For what? For the thirsting flowers. Thirsting flowers means flowers that are thirsty, that want water, that need water. As if it were a human being, the cloud says, I bring a fresh shower. So here in this line, you know, this cloud is personified as if it were a human being. One more example I would like to give you here. I bear light shade for the leaves when laid in their noonday dreams. So in this also, this cloud has been personified. What does the cloud say? I bear. I bear means I provide what? Light shade. Light shade means shade. Okay. I provide light shade for the leaves that are exposed to the hot sun at midday. Okay. You know very well. So just like a human being, it has been personified. And one more example I would like to give you here. I bind the sun's throne with a burning zone and the moon with a girdle of pearl. So here this cloud says, you know, as if it were a human being. What does the cloud say? I bind. I bind means I tie up, I surround what? The sun's throne. Sun's throne means the sun itself. Okay. How? With a burning zone. That means with a bright light. Okay. The cloud says it will surround or it will bind the sun itself with its bright light. One point. And it also says, you know, I also bind the moon with a girdle of pearls. Girdle means belt. Belt of pearls. Pearls you know very well. So with a girdle of pearls, I can also bind or surround the moon. So in this way, as if this cloud were a human being, this cloud is going to bind the sun, bind the moon. So in this way, throughout the poem, the poet has personified this cloud. So therefore, we can firmly say that the most predominant literary device employed in this poem is only the cloud. So this is okay. Now let's move on to learn about other literary devices. Right. Imagery is there. Imagery means the set of mental pictures is called imagery. You know that very well. Vivid description of natural elements create mental images. You know very well. The poet has described various things in this poem. All those things create a beautiful picture in your mind. Okay, that is called visualization. When you start reading the poem, you know, the picture will be flashing on your mental screen. So that picture itself called imagery. So beautiful imagery can be seen in this wonderful poem, vibrant poem, imaginative poem, The Cloud. So vivid descriptions, vivid depictions of natural elements. Okay, about the sun, about the moon, about water, about what not, about the celestial bodies, many many kinds of descriptions you can find in this poem, and whenever you are reading that description, you can get in your mind a beautiful picture. That picture is called imagery. You know that very well. And here, the sanguine sunrise with his meteor eyes, you know this line very well, and his burning plumes outspread. You look at this example. So the sanguine means here bloody, actual meaning is bloody. What is the color of blood? Blood is always red. So here sanguine means red. You take that meaning. The red sunrise, okay, or the red sun, early in the morning, if you look at the sunrise, it will be red. Okay, it will be red. So the red sun or the red sunrise with his meteor eyes. With his meteor eyes means, what did I tell you? So with its what? With its gleaming, what is that? With its gleaming streaks of, okay, bright light. Okay, bright light. So in the morning, if you look at the sunrise, you can find the streaks of bright light. Streaks means the rays of bright light you can find. Okay, this is the sun. You can find the streaks of bright light. So these are all the streaks. Streaks means rays. So gleaming, they will be gleaming, they will be glowing like anything. So early in the morning. So here, this is all description. And when you read this line, immediately the picture will flash on your mental screen. So the red sunrise with his meteor eyes, burning plumes outspread. And after the sunrise, what does the sun do? It will outspread. Outspread means it will scatter all over the world. What is that? All over the world, burning plumes. Burning means very hot. Plumes means here rays. So after the sunrise, what does the sun do? It will scatter. It will outspread all over the world. What? It's a very hot rays. So when you read these two lines, you get some beautiful picture on your mental screen. That picture itself is called what? Imagery. Right. And one more example I think I have given you here. All right. For after the rain, when with never a stain, the pavilion of heaven is bare. So here, after the rain means what? After the clouds have rained, will there be any cloud in the sky? After all the clouds have rained, there will be no clouds at all in the sky. The sky will be serene, the sky will be clear, the sky will be empty of clouds. So here, you know, after the rain, after all the clouds have rained, that's the meaning. With never a stain, that means with no cloud in the sky. The pavilion of heaven means the sky is bare. Bare means clear and empty. So when you read these two lines, what happens? You get a beautiful mental picture. So that mental picture itself is called imagery, right? And I think one more example I think I have given you, that orbed maiden with white fire laden, whom mortals call the moon, glides glimmering over my fleecy like floor. I have given you the meaning of these lines also. Where orbed maiden means, orbed means circular, okay. Maiden means woman, with white fire laden means filled with what? Bright white light. Filled with what? This white woman, okay, this circular woman filled with white bright light, okay, whom mortals call moon. And the ancestors or the mortals, what did they call it? They call that woman the moon. So these mortals called this circular maiden the moon. So that means, this moon is described in these lines, and this moon is always filled with bright, cool light. Okay, bright white light. White means here cool, and what's that? Peaceful. Okay, light is also very cool. So in the moonlight, what happens? You feel very happy because the moonlight is very cool. So this white fire laden means white light. So here, that's all description. Glides. And what does the moon do? This glides, moves smoothly. Glimmering means shining faintly, and over my fleecy like floor. Fleecy like means, fleecy means, okay, what is that? Soft floor of the cloud. So here, what is that? The moon is gliding, glimmering, how? Over the soft floor of the cloud. When you read these lines, you get some beautiful mental picture. That mental picture itself is called imagery. So there are so many kinds of imagery, okay, in this poem. So you can read the poem, you can understand that, okay, right. I explained all these things in that video, okay. You refer to that video, and I tried my best to give you the meaning of that lengthy poem. Please watch that and make some comments about that, whether I could give you the meaning of the lines correctly or not, or something like that. So I tried my best. Of course, I may be wrong here and there, but you must bring it to my notice. That's what is very important. Okay, and now let's move on to the next literary device. Metaphor is there. Metaphor means it's a direct comparison. Direct comparison is always called a metaphor. Okay, how? Let us see that. Comparisons without using like or as to convey deeper meanings is called a metaphor. You know that very well. We don't use like or as. Without using this like or as, we compare the things. Then that is called a metaphor. So how? Let us see that. I silently laugh at my own cenotaph. Cenotaph means what? I have already told you while teaching you the poem. Cenotaph means tomb. Tomb, in other words, disappearance. After all the clouds in the sky have rained, okay, will there be any more clouds in the sky? No. So now this cloud says there are no clouds at all in the sky. The sky, the clouds are exhausted in the sky, and that is just like my tomb. The disappearance of all clouds is just like my tomb. ఆకాశంలోని మేఘాలన్నీ కురిసిన తర్వాత ఇక అందులో అక్కడ మేఘాలు ఏమి ఉండవు కదా, అంటే అలా మేఘాలన్నీ అదృశ్యమైపోవడం, కురిసివేయడం ఏదైతే ఉందో అది నా యొక్క టూంబ్, సమాధి లాంటిది. బట్ హియర్ లాంటిది ఈజ్ నాట్ దేర్, అండ్ ద క్లౌడ్ సేస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ జస్ట్ లైక్ మై టూంబ్. The disappearance of all clouds in the sky is just like my tomb. That's what the cloud says. So, but here like or as is not there. So here I silently laugh at my own cenotaph. I silently laugh at my disappearance in the sky. No more clouds in the sky. The disappearance of all the clouds is called the tomb. You know that very well. I gave that meaning, comparing that clouds disappearance to a tomb. So here this disappearance of the clouds is compared to a tomb. So here this comparison is indirect, and therefore this is called a metaphor. You know that very well. And now you go to the next one. Simile is there. Simile is an ordinary comparison. Okay, simile is very simple. What is this? Comparisons using like and as. So in simile you compare the things using like or as. You know very well. Look at this example. Like strips of the sky fallen through me on high. You know very well, comparing the reflection of the sky in water to fallen strips. So the cloud says, I enable the stars and the moon, okay, yes, to look at the beauty of the earth. How? By making the clouds in the sky into small pieces. Okay, here is one piece, here is one piece. Between these two pieces there is some gap. So the cloud says it will make the gaps bigger so that the stars can look at the beauty of the earth, the moon can see the beauty of the earth. So that means, in other words, we can say, therefore you can find the image, okay, the reflection of the stars and the moon in the still waters of the lakes. Wherever the still water is, you can look into that. You can find the moon, you can find the stars. Because the reflection of the moon and the stars you can find. So how is it possible? Means the cloud says, I have widened the clouds though that the stars and the moon can see the beauty of the earth. So that means in that way this cloud is enabling the people living on the earth to see the beauty of the stars and the sky, in other words. Because you can see the reflection of the moon in the water. You can see the reflection of the stars in the water. So that's why, here this is a comparison, like strips of the sky. It looks, as though the strips of the sky have fallen on the still water. Akasha mukkalai kinda padinattuga. Like strips of the sky fallen through me on high. So in that way some like is used. It's a direct simile, okay, and comparing the reflection of the sky in water to fallen strips. Okay, and now let's move on to other literary devices. alliteration is there. Alliteration means, you know very well, the consonantal sound will be repeated at the beginning of two or more than two words. Okay, right. And here you pay attention, the repetition of initial consonantal sounds in closely placed words. This is called alliteration. Definition is also being given side by side. Okay, and one example. So the sanguine sunrise, see, sa, sakaram, and with is meteorize with the repetition of the S sound. So the sanguine sunrise. So this is called alliteration. Yes and yes. These two are repeated and it is giving some kind of beauty to the line. Music to the line, sweetness to the line, poetic line, right? So yes sound you can find. One more example I think I have given you. When I widen the rent in my wind-built tent, with the repetition of the W. So here, when I widen the rent in my wind-built tent. So in this, you know, wa, wa, wa. So wa sound is repeated. Wa is a consonantal sound, sa is a consonantal sound. So whenever the consonantal sounds are repeated in two or more than two words, that is called alliteration. So you know that very well, and that is there. Okay, you go to the next one, assonance. So the repetition of the vowel sounds. Okay, here that you know very well, the repetition of the vowel sounds in closely placed words. Okay, so quite opposite. This is the initial consonantal sounds, initial vowel sounds, that's all. And here what is that? I arise and unbuild it again. With the repetition of the ah sound in all of them. I arise and unbuild it again. So this ah sound is repeated. Ah sound is what? A vowel sound. Okay, so that is called assonance. You move on to the next literary device. Consonance is there. Okay, alliteration, assonance, consonance. What is this consonance? You see that? The repetition of consonant sounds within or at the end of words to create a fluidic flow and melodic rhythm. Fluidic means flow, flowing rhythm, and melodic, okay, sweet rhythm. So that for to create that fluidic and melodic rhythm, so this kind of repetition of consonant sounds within a word or at the end of a word. So alliteration is at the beginning of the word. So this is, you know, within a word or at the end of the words. That is there. Here you look at that. In these examples, you know, I silently laugh at my own cenotaph, and out of the caverns of rain, like a child from the womb, like a ghost from the tomb. So in all the lines, I have marked it in red color. La, ta, la, ta. So here it is within the word. Here it is at the beginning, of course. One is within the word, one is at the beginning. Then that comes under this consonants only. So this is in the middle and this is at the beginning. So this comes under consonants only. Right. In these lines, note is also given. We can see consonants in the repetition of the la sound and ta sounds of the words laugh, cenotaph, child, tomb, and all that. And you go to the next one, symbolism. Symbolism is also there in this poem. What is that symbolism? Using symbols to represent larger ideas. Okay, and let's go to the example. The cloud symbolizes the cycle of life. What does this cloud symbolize? It symbolizes the cycle of life. You know very well, the cloud takes its birth from the seas, streams, oceans. Okay, that goes into the sky in the form of vapor. Okay, and there it becomes a cloud, and again that cloud, you know, falls in the form of the rain on the land. So again that water goes into the ocean. From there again this water goes up into the sky in the form of vapor. There it again forms. So a cloud, you know, bursts. Okay, bringing rain. So like that, you know, it's a kind of cycle of life. Okay, right. So cycle of life is that nature's continuous transformation. And this cloud also symbolizes the nature's constant transformation. Nature doesn't remain stagnant or static. Okay, yesterday itself I told you in that video, no, this, you know, you cannot find always the spring season. After some time, you know, there comes summer season. After that, autumn season. After that, winter season. So throughout the year, you know, nature keeps on changing. In this poem, this cloud symbolizes two things: the cycle of life, one thing, and nature's continuous transformation. It stands for two things: its own cycle of life Okay, and it also symbolizes nature's constant or continuous transformation. It keeps on changing and changing. Always you cannot find winter, always you cannot find summer, always you cannot find rainy season. So it will be keeping on changing and changing and changing. Okay, yesterday I explained all these things, right? And you move on to the other literary devices. Anaphora is there. Anaphora is a very beautiful literary device. What is this? The repetition of a word or a phrase at the beginning of successive clauses. That's called anaphora. So a word or a phrase, repeats at the beginning of successive clauses. How? Here you pay attention. I bring fresh showers. I bear light shadows. So this is called anaphora. I bring fresh showers. I bear light shade. So in this way, there are so many examples in this poem. So that's called anaphora, right? And here enjambment is there. Be silent, enjambment. Okay, enjambment means one line flowing into another line. And here the continuation of a sentence or a clause across a line break. Okay, without a line break. Okay, without a line break, it will be continuing. How? Let me give you. I bring fresh showers for the thirsting flowers from the seas, from the streams. So this sentence is flowing into this. Okay, and here I bear light shadow for the leaves when laid in their noonday stream. So in these two lines, you can find one line is flowing into another line. One line is flowing into another line. So that is called enjambment, right? You move on to the other literary devices. Hyperbole is there. Hyperbole means exaggeration, very well. And exaggerated statements for emphasis and effect. So generally some statements are exaggerated. So why? Only for emphasis or effect sake. So that is called a hyperbole. One example I would like to give you for this. I bind the sun's throne with a burning zone. See, this is an exaggeration. In this line, the cloud says that it can bind, it can tie up. Okay, is it a possible thing for the cloud to tie up the sun? Or is it possible for the cloud to surround the sun with a burning zone? No, it's not possible. Because, but it's all exaggeration. That means, only to tell us that this cloud is very powerful. Only to tell us that this cloud is very powerful. The poet has written like this. I bind the sun's throne. I can tie up or I can surround the sun's throne or the sun itself with a burning zone. Means with a bright light. So that's the meaning of that line. So here, in this line, the statement is exaggerated. For effect's sake. What kind of effect the poet wishes to bring means only to say that this cloud is very powerful. Okay, it's very mighty and all that. So to tell us that, so he has used this one. This is therefore called a hyperbole. Right. And metonymy is there. What is this metonymy? So substituting the name of one object with another which is closely related to it. So using another word that is related to this, the pavilion of heaven. Refer to the sky. The pavilion means the tent actually. The tent of heaven. What is the tent of heaven? It is nothing but the sky. So here instead of this sky, this is used. So that is this is therefore called metonymy, right? You go to the other literary devices. Onomatopoeia. 13th one is onomatopoeia. Okay. Onomatopoeia means words that imitate natural sounds. So that is called onomatopoeia. And here thunder. It's an onomatopoeia. Howl. Yes, howl means what? Natural sound. What do the jackals do at night? What do the wolves do at night? They howl. Oh, something like that. That's called howling sound. Nakkalu oola veita in Telugu you can say. So here howl means oola veita. So here this is a natural sound of the thunder. This is a natural sound of the animal. So when these natural sounds are mimicked or imitated, then that is called onomatopoeia. Right. Oxymoron is there. What is this oxymoron? Combining two contradictory terms. So quite opposite terms, keeping at one place. That's called oxymoron. How? Let us see that here. What is that? Sublime on the towers of the skyey bowers. Where sublime towers, skyey bowers. Bowers means small rooms. Okay. Sky means rooms located in the sky, that you know very well. So it's okay. And sublime towers means lofty towers. Lofty towers means lofty buildings. Lofty buildings with small rooms. Quite opposite. So this sublime towers. Sublime towers means lofty towers, big buildings with small rooms. Quite opposite. Big buildings, small rooms. So create a contrast between grandeur. Big buildings means they indicate grandeur. Small rooms, they indicate simplicity, isn't it? So they indicate grandeur, they indicate simplicity. So this is therefore called oxymoron. Right. Now let's move on to other literary devices. 15th one, allusion is there. Allusion means reference, giving some reference. So here a direct or indirect reference to another work of literature, person or event. So this direct reference or indirect reference, so that is called allusion. Okay. Reference to some work of literature or some person or some event. So what kind of allusion is given in this poem? Let us see that. Okay, here I arise and unbuild it again. So in this, if you observe it, I arise and unbuild it again means I form into a cloud and again I just rain that cloud. I build a cloud and I unbuild it. Okay, I build a cloud, I unbuild it. From this you can understand, the cloud arises and again it dies. Again it arises. The cloud, what happens? The cloud arises, then it dies. Dying means it rains. After raining, what happens? It is nothing but dying. So it arises and then it dies. From this death only, again it arises, again it dies, again arises, again dies. So this is therefore called what is that? A kind of allusion. What kind of allusion is given here? For example, I would like to give you here the phoenix metaphor. This is therefore called the phoenix metaphor. What is this phoenix? This phoenix, okay. This phoenix is what? A legendary bird. And this legendary bird, according to one account, lived for 500 years. It lived for 500 years. And after that, it burned itself to ashes. It burned, okay. You must know about this phoenix. Itself to ashes, okay, on a pyre. చితి మీద తనను తాను కాల్చుకొని బూడిదవుతుంది. అగైన్ ఫ్రమ్ దీస్ యాషెస్ ఇట్ విల్ టేక్ ఇట్స్ బర్త్, ఇట్ లివ్స్, ఓకే, అండ్ ఇట్ అగైన్ ఫ్రమ్ ద యాషెస్ ఇట్ కమ్స్ టు లైఫ్ అండ్ లివ్స్ ఫర్ అనదర్ 500 years. అదొక లెజెండరీ బర్డ్. 500 ఏళ్ళు బతికిందట అది. అదేం చేస్తుంది? తనను తాను కాల్చుకొని చితిపైన బూడిద అయితే ఆ బూడిద నుంచి మళ్ళీ అది పుట్టి మళ్ళీ 500 ఏళ్ళు బతుకుతుంది. సో ఇట్స్ కాల్డ్ వాట్ నో హియర్ ఆల్సో వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ క్లౌడ్ డూయింగ్? ఇట్ ఈస్ అరైజింగ్ అండ్ దెన్ డయింగ్. అంటే మేఘంగా పుడుతుంది, మేఘం వర్షించిన తర్వాత చనిపోయినట్టే లెక్క కదా. సో సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్. ఇట్ ఈస్ అరైజింగ్, ఇట్ ఈస్ డయింగ్, అగైన్ it is arising, it is dying, arising, dying, arising, dying. How? Just like this phoenix. So some kind of allusion you can find in this. It's an indirect allusion. It is an indirect reference. I arise and unbuild it again. I arise and die again. Again arise, again die, again cycle, right? So it's a, and you go to the next one. Parallelism is there. What is this parallelism? See, the use of components in a sentence that are grammatically the same, similar in construction. So the same grammar constructions in the poetic lines is called parallelism. How? Let us see that here. Like a child from the womb, like a ghost from the tomb. See, same construction. Like a child from the womb, like a ghost from the tomb. This is called parallelism. So now we move on to the last literary device. Internal rhyme is there. What is this internal rhyme? Let us see that here. Words rhyming within the same line is called internal rhyme, and for the musical and flowing nature of the poem. This kind of internal rhyme will provide music and some kind of flow to the poetic lines, okay, to the poem. So it lends some kind of music and flow to the poem, and that's why this kind of internal rhyme is used by this P.B. Shelley. So it's a wonderful, no, he has written all the poems in a sticking to the metrical rules, metrical patterns and all that. And here, pay attention, I have given so many examples. So I bring fresh showers from the thirsting flowers. Generally, the rhyming scheme is found at the end of the poetic lines, but here within the poetic lines you can find the rhyming, okay, that therefore called internal rhyme. So flowers, flowers, when rocked to rest on their mother's breast, I wield the flail and of the lashing hail, okay, sublime on the towers of my skyey bowers, wherever he dream under mountain or stream, okay, leaps on the back of my sailing rack. We may have broken the hoof of my tent's roof. Hoof means fabric or cloth, you know very well. Yesterday I gave you the meaning. I pass through the pores and here shores. So all these things. So internal rhyme, you can also read the poem and you can also find all these things, okay, to your satisfaction. The kids will be there. Now with this, you know, the literary devices will come to an end, okay, and now we are going to do some exercise, okay, both on the poem and on the poet, okay. As many as 40 bits I am going to give you here. Please try to answer all the questions. Very simple and very easy. If you cannot answer these questions, that means you have not understood the poem. If you have understood the poem, then you can easily do it. Within 5 minutes you can do 40 bits. So that is, I challenge it. Please listen to the poem therefore. Okay, right. And now let's move on to do the exercise. Multiple choice questions on The Cloud by P.B. Shelley. So I will read only the question and its options. You have to choose the right option. What does the cloud bring for the thirsting flowers? Yes, sunshine, fresh showers, gentle breezes, shade. Okay, you go to the next question. What does the cloud bear for the leaves? Okay, you know very well. Bear means provide for the leaves. You know that very well. Fruit, light shade, rain, dew. How simple the questions are. And now let's move on to other questions. From where are the dews that waken the sweet buds shaken? The wings of the cloud, the ground, the sun, the sea. How does the cloud describe its movement over earth and ocean? With violent force, with gentle motion, with hesitance, with rapid speed. Who is the cloud's pilot? The sun, the moon, lightning, thunder. Where does the cloud sleep at night? On the mountain, in the arms of the blast, over the plains, in the ocean. You can easily solve them. What does the cloud do when the sunrise leaps on its back? Disappears, turns into rain, reflects the sunrise, spreads over the sky. What does the sunset breathe from the lit sea beneath? Peace, rest and love, energy, anger. How does the cloud describe its rest during sunset? As still as a brooding dove, as peaceful as a night sky, as restless as the wind, as active as the sea. What do mortals call the orbed maiden with white fire laden? The sun, the star, the moon, the comet. What happens when the beat of the moon's unseen feet breaks the hoof of the cloud's tent? The stars disappear, the stars peep behind her and appear, the cloud dissipates, the moon hides. How does the cloud feel about seeing the stars whirl and flee? Amused, frightened, indifferent, sad. What is paved with the moon and stars in the cloud's vision? Paved with means filled with, covered with. The sky, the earth, the rivers, lakes and seas, the mountains. What does the cloud bind the sun's throne with? a silver chain, a burning zone, a golden rope, a blue ribbon. What causes the stars to reel and swim? The earthquake, the volcanoes, the clouds banner unfurling, the wind. How does the cloud describe its form over a torrent sea? Torrent means turbulent. I explained that in the previous class. Bridge-like shape, circular, shapeless, like a ship. What does the cloud call its triumphal arch? The rainbow, the sky, the horizon, the mountains. What is the cloud's relationship to earth and water? Mother, daughter, sister, guardian. What happens to the cloud after the rain when heaven is bare? It dissipates, it laughs silently at its own cenotaph, it becomes part of the sea, it falls to the ground. How does the cloud describe its ability to change? I change but I can't die. I change and I fade away. I remain constant. I change and I disappear. You know that? How does the cloud arise after the rain? Like a ghost from the tomb, like a sunbeam, like a storm, like a gentle breeze. What does the cloud do to the hail it wields? Dissolves it in rain, throws it to the ground, holds it in place, spreads it over the mountains. How does the cloud describe the movement of the moon? Glimmering, slow, swift, invisible. What colors does the spear fire above the cloud weave? Red and blue, yellow and green, million colored bow, black and white. How does the cloud describe its birth and death cycle? Constant and unchanging, silent and unnoticed, repetitive and cyclical, violent and chaotic. So these are the questions about the poem. Some additional questions are also given. Who is the speaker in the cloud? The sun, the moon, the cloud, the rain. What does the cloud symbolize in the poem? The endless cycle of life, the destruction, human emotions, darkness. In which year was the cloud published? 1816, 1819, 1820, 1822. What literary device is primarily used in the cloud? Predominantly or primarily anything. Simile, metaphor, personification, irony. Which natural element does the cloud control? Fire, earth, water, wind. Which season does the cloud associate with? Spring, summer, autumn, winter. How does the poem The Cloud end? With the cloud disappearing, with the cloud bringing rain, with the cloud's rebirth, with the cloud meeting the sun. What does the cloud do when it covers the sun? It darkens the earth, it cools the earth, it warms the earth, it brightens the earth. On Percy Bysshe Shelley. So on P.B. Shelley also a few questions are, just 6 questions are composed. You try to answer them. Which of the following poems was not written by P.B. Shelley? Ode to the West Wind, The Raven, To a Skylark, Prometheus Unbound. In which year was P.B. Shelley born? 1792, 1794, 1796, 1798. Shelley's work Prometheus Bound is a, what is this Prometheus Unbound? A novel, tragedy, play, collection of poems. Which of the following is not a major influence on Shelley's poetry? The French Revolution, the Romantic Movement, the Industrial Revolution, ancient Greek mythology. Which of the following best describes Shelley's approach to nature in his poetry? Realistic and detached, romantic and idealistic, scientific and empirical, cynical and disillusioned. Last question. P.B. Shelley was married to which prominent literary figure? Mary Shelley, Jane Austen, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Charles Bronte. Okay. With this, the exercise comes to an end. Now let us have a look at the answers of these questions. Answers for the questions from 1 to 13. Answers for the questions from 14 to 25. For the additional questions, answers for the questions from 26 to 33. For the answers on the poet, okay, 35 to 39, they are all given here. Okay, right. And with this video comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hello dear DSC candidates, thank you so much for watching this video. If you cannot understand any literary device that I have explained in this video, please mention it in the comment section. Please do this exercise and tell me your what is the score also, because the better you understand the poem, the more successfully you can do the exercise. So therefore, if you cannot answer the questions properly, means you have not understood the poem. Therefore, you please watch that video again. So after understanding the poem thoroughly well, you try to solve this exercise, and it will be of great help to you for your examination. Okay, right. With another beautiful video, I shall be back to you. Until then, bye. See you, all of you. Right.